Hi, my name is Sally Barnard, an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer. Welcome to Call Me Zena, a true story into the spiritual realms. Join me as I sit and discuss the journey of self-discovery and awakening with the help of my spirit guides. It's time to trust your intuition. This is your inner knowings. Through questions and points of conversation, I can help others feel empowered. With the ability to touch people's past lives, I help others connect and not feel alone. Sit with me and call in live, 888-994-4995. Hi everybody, welcome to my show today. It's a really special show. I have my fiance, my husband here today. We got married yesterday, and I have my adorable granddaughter here who flew in for our wedding. So I feel really good. So any questions that you have, please call in and let me know. And we have some people in the studio here. You know I love my questions. They come in and they answer them. So here we go. Okay, look for a beautiful show today. Thank you.
I have a question. So with everything you've seen in your life and all of your psychic ability, did you ever foresee yesterday happening?
No, I did not. And here I can answer all these questions, and I do get premonitions. No, Steve, I never did. But I'm very glad it happened,
Well,
okay?
Thank you very much.
Okay, so please feel free to ask questions to myself or even Steve. And a little later on, he wrote the most beautiful poem. He's never, ever done anything like this, but it was so beautiful. I'm going to get him to read it. Okay, so here we go. Okay, question time. Oh, and also I do want to introduce Linda, who listens to my show from New York every single week, but she's actually live in the studio today, so welcome, Linda. My cousin. She's now my cousin, okay?
Thank you, Sally.
This was on Steve's side. That's how I made him my cousin.
Yes, yesterday was just amazing. All of our family from near and far, and all of our friends, and it was just an amazing, amazing afternoon, and everything came off without a hitch.
That's beautiful. Husband.
Wife.
Okay, here we go.
Coming to you live for the first time as man and wife.
That's good. Oh, and my friend Mindy's just walked in. How beautiful. Hi, Mindy. We just started the show. It's question time, so please give me some questions. Okay. We have a little pause here while everybody's getting situated.
Sydney, did you ever think that your grandmother would get married again?
Honestly, I did not, but I'm glad she did. I'm glad she has a partner in crime now. It's beautiful to see.
Sally, people are asking me, do different psychics or mediums get their information differently, or does everyone receive the same messages from Spirit?
No, I believe from what I know, and I can only talk for myself, that we receive it differently. I don't actually see spirits, but I hear them. So I'm able to, they give me the answers, as you are aware on the show. Many people actually see or go into a deep trance. I'm not really aware that I'm going into a trance, but the moment I receive a question, I am able to give the answer. So not everybody does it that way. Many people have to tune in a different way. I just tune in the moment I get my question, as you know, Dawn. But everybody has a different way of hearing from them. But again, I can only go by example, but they are there to speak to us. However, we choose perhaps to get the answer.
And do you filter what you say when you hear from them? Because I know you don't remember what you say.
No, I don't remember what I say. I will afterwards, or if I listen to the show, if you give me like a little bit of what the question was, I will remember the answer. No, I don't filter it, because then I would be thinking. I don't put my mind into this. They're there and they're helping me through me. I'm like the one that is their mouthpiece, as Aldo, as you know, used to say to me. So not everybody does it the same way. There are very many different ways of listening to them.
And as eloquently as you answer questions, it is in totally different form than when we're having a conversation at home.
Yes, absolutely. And actually, because I have this show, and I actually have never really heard myself answer the questions, but I listen to my show and I'm thinking, well, I don't remember, but as I hear the question, I'll start to remember. I'm not aware of how I'm doing this until I actually see myself. So, but I do remember the questions when I hear them again on the show. But I won't be able to tell you what the next question is until it actually happens.
Do names have a significant meaning? Yesterday I was at your wedding and it was just the funniest coincidence, right?
Yes, no coincidences, Dawn, you know that. Okay, absolutely they do. And I think we proved that when we first met each other with names. There was many, many similar names, right? Yes, I do believe that. I mean, we attract through our vibrational energy the people to come into our lives. So we actually kind of, although we're not aware of it, know the person before we actually meet that person. And very often they have a name that we can relate to, a mother, a father, a daughter, a son, or just somebody that we knew or a friend. I believe what happened yesterday at our wedding with your two names, with my very, very good friend Sherry, that wasn't coincidence. I think you guys were meant to meet, and she will come here and we'll maybe go out for a lunch, because the names were so similar. It was just backwards, right? The other way around.
Totally.
It didn't surprise me, and I'm sure it didn't surprise you at that point, right?
No, and actually I was sitting, well actually here's a question here and then we'll go back to that.
Okay.
Tracy says, can you contact my Nana or Papa on the other side?
I can, Tracy. If you ask me a question that you may want to ask them, I'll do my best, because it's just like here. They're not all waiting for my show. But when they hear something or we trigger something, they come in. It's no different really to us being here, but just that we can't see them. They are, as far as I can tell, and I say this many times, from my way of thinking, because I don't know how I do this. I'm able to do this. So they gather around. So if you give me their name or you can just give me something, we'll see if we can bring them in. It's like a phone call. They're not always available, but let's try.
Mindy, a question?
Hi, Mindy.
Hi. Congratulations.
Thank you.
My question, I forgot exactly how I was going to word it, but I understand the feeling of not remembering the readings. And when you give somebody information and then a month later they say, oh my God, everything you said happened and you have no memory of anything that you said. Do you feel any obligation to be right or to give them accurate? Yeah, I know.
No, I have no obligation. Yes, I'm sorry.
Tell me how that feels, how that plays out. If somebody says that and you don't remember, does it matter at all either way?
No, it doesn't matter to me, because I've done what I'm meant to do. And you know, we're here and we're not always aware of what we hear. We can give a name to someone, and this has happened to me. And that name may not register in the mind that I give them that message. I can say, so-and-so is giving you a message, and they'll say, I have no idea who that is. But I will get a phone call maybe a week or 2 weeks later. Oh, now I know who you were talking about. As far as I'm concerned, I'm just the messenger as far as that goes. I can give that message. Where it goes is up to them, because we're not always aware of that particular person at that time. But it will, if that message was significant and they know and they're holding that memory, they will remember that name.
And do you think it's an encouragement from spirit, like a confirmation, keep going, keep doing this, or not even that?
As far as the
We have
person,
no idea. In other words, when you say something, you have no idea where it lands in any way.
right.
And if it comes back to you as accurate, do you feel like this work is very important and that's an encouragement? Keep going.
I love that question, Mindy. I love that question. Yes, I do, because I can only show what I do by example. And I have been accurate many, many times. Does it surprise me? Yeah, it surprised me. I'm only human. I don't know. But I know that I'm able to do this because I've given the correct names to people. Now, if the person asking the question is asking me something and I'm giving them validation of something as far as what the question is concerned, I feel personally that I have done my job to let them know that there is more in this than we know. So I feel my work, as far as the question goes, is important, but it's only really important for the, hopefully I'm not here to change anybody's mind. I can't do that. But if they can relate to my answer to my question and they see that how in the world did I know that, it's going to open their mind slightly. And that's all I'm doing. I can't help everybody, and I'm not here to help everybody.
And do you feel it's at all sort of an assignment in this lifetime at all?
I do, because as you know, my Aldo, who was very dear to me, understood all this far more than I knew, but he was here to teach me, and he did. And he used to say to me when I'm gone, and I didn't believe I had no idea who was going to go before me, but he said to me, you will be my mouthpiece to carry on my work. And I feel it right now, as you know, as you came into my house, so very strongly. He is with me, and he's going, go for it, girl, kind of, I taught you so much. Please be my mouthpiece. I can help you more from the other side. And you know that, Mindy. Yes. How we met is a perfect example. Thank you.
Sally, Tracy wrote in, does her father know that she met his first son, Robert?
I feel that he does, through her, through the happiness that she's had during this occasion. I can't be 100% certain, but I want to say, as they're telling me, yes, he knows. He does know.
Her dad's name is Rob.
Okay. Again, he has to, but I think her vibrational energy through what happened is so strong that he does know. I'm going to say yes, as far as from what I'm feeling, yes, he does know. He does know.
Sally, I've got a question related to, as we've been working on your book, and I ask you a question, and then you channel the answer. Now, sometimes you feel a wave of emotion after that answer comes through. So my question for you is that your human emotion? Is it the emotion of the collective, or where do you think that comes from?
Well, because I pick up energy, I'm also picking up energy from the other side. So it's a little bit of both, Lynn. It's my human emotion that's coming through, but I'm also feeling their emotion. So it's like a double edge, it's both of us. So my emotion actually, as you say that, and you've certainly seen this because we're doing the book together, is that it becomes, for me being here to be able to show you how I'm feeling, I guess, my emotion is coming from two different places. It's coming from the other side, and it's also coming from me. So it's very, very strong, as you have seen. I mean, we can cry, we can laugh. I get my famous goosebumps at this point. So it's coming from both ways, but it's validation for me. It's tremendous validation for me.
Yeah, thank you, because that's one of the things I've been noticing that I was thinking about, especially now as you're doing the show, that, because as you're explaining the channeling part, the getting the answers and bringing them through, it is, I guess maybe it's because you don't have that emotional attachment to anything related to the callers that are calling in or to other people, but this gets very much into you and your life and your experience.
Well, I think, as you're very aware, because as we're sitting and we're in another room and we're sitting quietly there, I'm being channeled just the same as we're doing now. And again, I know I brought Aldo up many, many times because he's been such a help to me and an influence, and still is, that we both feel his, as an example, we both feel his presence. You'll tell me Aldo is here. I know he's here because he's very happy about what we're doing, Lynn. So they come through when it's relevant for them to come through too. They don't just suddenly, a whole lot of people maybe that we don't know are going to give me messages. It's not relevant to our conversation, just the same as it is here. They'll come through when they feel the need, because I'm like an instrument and I can feel them. So that happens as we're writing the book, because I need, as you know, Aldo's help, and he's been a fantastic help. Before I'll even say it, you'll say to me, Aldo's here, and the goosebumps arrive, right? So we know that's their validation of helping us. It's kind of them telling us that we're on the right track, so to speak, if that makes sense to you. Do you kind of understand that? Because
it
you've
absolutely
seen that.
does. Thank you.
Yeah.
Turning our attention back to the wedding briefly.
Okay. Naturally. Sorry, Steve, I forgot you were sitting here.
Thank you very much.
No, I didn't
Already
forget.
being ignored.
No, I didn't mean it that
I
way.
know.
You know that.
I know. But bringing our attention back to the wedding, my question is more of a spiritual one, and that is, did you feel the absolute presence of entities from beyond as we were sitting there in our special day?
Yes, because they never leave us. But
Anyone in particular?
Well, you know, my granddaughter is here too. I definitely felt my daughter and your son, and that's going to bring me to tears because my granddaughter's sitting here right now, who I love dearly. I know their presence was here, and I was debating whether we should even mention it because I had forgotten to tell you, and I thought, well, I'm going to cry. But I didn't, because I felt that I was getting help. They hear our acknowledgement, as your son did, Steve, and I feel, and we've said this before, that they have joined together to meet each other. I have no proof, I don't know, but from everything I do this by example, and I feel it very strongly. And I think that everybody from the other side, not just them, our parents, our relatives that have passed, my stepmother, I feel her presence. Yes, I did. They were at our wedding, as far as I can tell you. Yes.
Steve?
At this point, I do want to introduce my granddaughter. You've heard me mention many times. This is Sydney. Hi, Sydney.
Hello.
Say hello to everyone.
Okay, I'll
Come up here, yes, yeah. I love your hat. I know you're still not here. I think we have to come here, in front of the Hanukkah candles. This is my granddaughter.
I'm Sydney, and I actually do have a question.
Okay, Sydney.
So, I've watched this show on Netflix about this medium, Tyler Henry, and sometimes when he receives messages from someone that maybe has recently deceased, and before they deceased, they were, in physical pain. When he receives messages from these people, he also feels that same pain coming through. Do you ever feel pain physically?
I do. And Steve can attest, you can attest to this,
absolutely.
because sometimes he may have a pain, perhaps in his arm or his shoulder, and I'll put my hand on it, but I'll say, please be aware that I am taking that pain, which you can do. So I know who you're talking about. I've heard him many times. So what I try to do, and anybody that's able to do this, and it's very important, is to protect yourself from that pain. I can get rid of it. I can expel it. As Mindy knows too, I know that too. But yes, you do take it on because you're doing a clearing here and you want to get that person better. But I myself or anybody that's doing that has to protect themselves. And by that, we put a shield around us, which Alda had informed me to do. Thank you, Sydney. I love this little girl. Well, she's not a little girl.
She's the best.
Yeah, okay. She probably thinks her grandmother is a little strange, but that's okay.
I have a question for Steve. Since you asked Sally if she felt... First of all, let me get back up. Yesterday was a magical day. I'm going to get a little emotional, but seeing you so happy with Sally fills my heart. So thank you, Sally.
Thank you, Linda.
You asked Sally if she felt, and as our family has shrunk to a minute amount of people, did you feel the presence of anyone, especially Scotty?
Well, I don't know that I actually felt the actual presence, but I can't be sure of that because numerous times during our wedding yesterday, I brought to mind Scott, I brought to mind my parents, your mother as well, and all the happy times that we shared as kids growing up. And although I couldn't absolutely say that I felt an absolute presence, I hope they were there.
I felt they were there too.
Can we share, Linda, that's a lovely question. And just I feel that my job is not just for me to give these messages, it's to pass this on, that we are all aware. If we're aware and we open our minds, and it doesn't happen. It took me many, many years with Aldo's help to understand and be where I am. But we can relate to a little story that we had in New York, right?
Yes.
If you'd like to tell the story, would you like to come up here too? Or would you sooner stay where you are? Or would you like me to start?
No, you don't have to stop. I'm
Okay.
just a little emotional.
I'm sorry.
No, it's a good emotion because
Okay.
yesterday I
In the
really,
restaurant.
I really physically am not able to really dance. But when somebody came up and asked you to dance the Shake It Up Baby, and Steve was sitting there by himself,
Linda.
something pushed me to get up and get him up. And his back was hurting, and many parts of me were hurting, but we danced for the first time in decades.
But
And-
sorry. I know
Yeah,
you're doing-
and I just, like he said, it made me think of course, Scott and his parents and how close Stevie was to my mom. But yes, I would like to talk about that.
in the restaurant in New York.
We were in a
yes.
restaurant in New York when, makes me think of when Steve met Sally. When Steve met Sally, we were in a restaurant in New York, and I was talking about my mom, and Sally was talking about Louise. And at that particular moment, and this is a very crowded, popular restaurant on Central Park South, and right above us, there were lights above each table, and we were talking, and all of a sudden, the lights only above our table flickered, stopped. Flickered, stopped. And I'm just learning about this journey, but yet at that particular moment, we held hands, and it kind of blew me away.
Can I
And
give
then
a little
Sally-
background on yourself? Because
Yes.
when you first began to listen to this show, and as many people, and that's okay because we're all at different stages on our journey here, I don't believe that you were open-minded. Well, you were open-minded because you listened to my show, but you didn't understand too much. So for me, when we were talking about your mother and my daughter passing, that only above our table, and I said they work through electricity, and at that moment the lights went on and off over our table. It was not so much for me, but it was for you to show you that's our validation, that they are around. They are around. I'm just the instrument. I'm just giving the messages. I can tell you what's happened to me, but my biggest pleasure, it gives me so much pleasure when this happens, as it has with you, Steve, so
Anytime.
many, many times, for people to see the same validation that I get. It's not for me. I'm understanding as best I can in my human form that they are here with us. But when I see somebody else open to that, it gives me unbelievable pleasure. They may not understand it as you didn't at that time, but it gets you and many other people that are listening to the show to think, oh my gosh, I remember when that happened and something happened. They show us a lot, and they're able to do this, as far as I see, through electricity. And people need that validation. To me, it's real, it exists. But even if they don't understand it at that time, if something happens, at least it begins to open their mind up a little bit. Maybe there's a little bit more, maybe there's a little bit more. I've had my share of validations, and I love it. And as Steve has, when he came into my life, my friends said, oh boy, is he going to be in for a ride? And I think that we're correct in saying that you are, right?
You can be correct.
Yes, he is. He was, you know more than Steve did when I first met him. He didn't want any part of this. But today, yes, absolutely.
To clarify, that was the first time that we dated briefly. But when we came back to each other last February, I was totally open.
Yeah. And everyone, and I think even Mindy, you said, he's going to, my friends have all said, he does not know what he's in for. And it worked, right? It's worked.
It's been a wonderful ride.
Thank you. Okay.
Sally, do you feel at this point you're walking in between two worlds, or you can easily shift? You know, when people say, what about this, or do you believe in this, or it's kind of no difference from you are now, your life is as comfortable either side, either way, that it's just one, really? Or I'm asking, is that how you feel?
Yeah, no, I love that question, Mindy, because in the beginning, you can go more one way than the other. I can say, well, I'm living with the spirits, but I'm not here. Or I can say, I'm here, I don't want to hear from you, the spirits. However, what I've been able to do over the years, we are here. I'm a human being living in this world. The only way that I can say how I'm able to do this is that I find balance. I love hearing from the other side, but I also love my life here. So I find that balance. I can't be all one way or the other. This is me, and I found it works for me. So can I turn this off? Absolutely, I can turn it off, as I can turn it on to hear from them. So it's the balance that's so very important. I love that question, thank you, because people do ask me that. No, I'm not always there. No, and I don't want to be always
I understand that, but doesn't
you
it just become your life? There, here, at one, separate, it's just your life at this point.
Well, it's my life, and that's a good question too. Yes, it is my life, because I'm here to help people if they want to. I can't change people's minds, but I'm here to help them understand that if they want to. So I can't, and I'm finding more and more, because maybe I am more there than I'm here, but I try not to do that. And this is where I question myself, because I have to be careful with this. I know that there are many people around me that may not understand. And I have to be very, I'm going to say tolerant, because it's not really a nice word to say, but I have to respect that. Respect is the better word. I have to respect that am I further on this journey? I don't know, but I've opened up to this. I'm no better or any different to anybody, but I need to do this. In fact, I got a message the other day, and it's the first time I've actually had this message from what I call as a spirit from the other side. I did not know who it was, but it was someone that was about 18 years old, and he said, please tell them about us. It's important. And I woke up, and it was like he was sitting there in my room, and I felt that, and I still see him, and I still hear it. So I feel that my work is for everybody, but not everybody is going to understand what I'm saying, if that makes sense.
Yes.
That's
Yes,
them.
thank
They always
you.
answer, does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Thank you. Okay, Dawn, hi.
Commercial?
Yes, it's a commercial. We're going to take a I thought it was a question, but it was commercial.
It was
Okay,
a
thank
question.
you.
You want to take a commercial?
We're going to take a commercial break. Okay, thank you. I'll see you right back in a few minutes. Thanks, everybody.
A true story, Call Me Zena is the telling of Sally Barnard. Born in London, England at the end of the Second World War, she came to the U.S. in 1979. A mother of two and grandmother of four, she settled in Florida and worked in real estate. While going through a difficult time in her life, she was admitted into a hospital overnight in December of 2005. While settling back into her life, she began having vivid dreams and documenting them. By the third dream, a lady gave her a message to draw. With no artistic background or interest in art or history, Sally listened to her dreams and grabbed paper and crayons. Today, she has over 150 pieces of inspiring art and poetry. This book follows her journey and interpretations of these messages. She describes in detail how she's able to astral project and who she has met along her travels, including her spirit guides. This book will show you how anything is possible with an open mind. These events have changed Sally's life's direction, and this book will show you how to change yours. Purchase Call Me Zena on Amazon today.
This world, this life, this illusion. What is going on, we ask? What is happening? Why not take time and see what is happening? This world as we know it, it seems so real, and yet so far away from where we've come. Corruption, greed, anger, power, revenge. Please wake up. We can change what is around us. How, we may ask. Learn to go back to where we were. Then we will have the clues. Then we can change and go forward. Please take the time. Do not fall into the game which we have put upon ourselves. We can change. We can make a difference. We have the power, each and every one of us. Go in peace. Go with love. Go as one. Zena. You have been watching Call Me Zena with your host, Sally Barnard. As an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer, know that you could always seek me out for resources. Visit artbysallybarnard.com today. Now, back to the show. Well, we're back. Questions, please. Okay, we're ready. I'm ready. Well, they're ready too. Questions. Dawn, Freddie, Lynn, Mindy, Linda.
When spirit comes to you, is there an obligation to respond?
Well, there's no real obligation, but if I'm able, and I do the very best I can. I feel that I have that obligation. They may not, because I can't necessarily answer for spirit. But I feel that even if it's a name, I'm talking to someone and then we may not even be in the zone, as I call it. And I'll say, do you know someone with a certain name? I feel that obligation that I have to pass that on because I'm feeling it very strongly. And most of the time they'll say yes, but as I said before, earlier, and I do remember that, I don't always remember everything, they'll say to me, oh, and they'll give me a call. You are absolutely right. Even if it's some initials that I'm able to pick up. Yes, in answer to your question, I was a long time answering it. Yes, I do feel some sort of obligation, but it's a good one.
Sally,
Yes.
I want to ask you the flip side of that question, the opposite. Let's say spirit tells you something. It has nothing to do with another person, necessarily. It's not passing on a message. But they've told it to you, about you, or your future, or something in the world that would happen, and it doesn't come true. And they've told you directly. How do you take that? Or did that ever happen?
Yes, it has happened. But you know, when they give us a message, it can be a premonition, Mindy. So although it doesn't happen immediately, although I'll give an example of how it happened immediately, I don't know. I don't always know the time and place of somewhere else. I had a premonition one time, which I think I brought up on the show. It was about a terrorist attack. I was scared stupid, but I said, oh, it's just a dream. However, 4 years later, my whole scenario of what happened, I saw play out, and I knew what was happening. But in answer to that too, because there's no time on the other side, what happened a little while ago, and I may have mentioned this on the show, we were having, when Steve moved in, we were having the second bathroom redone. And the guy comes in with the shower doors and everything, and he's working, and I'm sitting, as you know, Steve, in the living room. And I suddenly said, what would happen if that glass door broke? And there would be a tremendous bang. And as I said that, like 1 second later, he's in the bathroom and he drops the door and it goes everywhere. But again, I don't know that that's going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen. The guy could have killed himself. I couldn't go running in there, but it happens. I don't know the timing. They don't have time on the other side, so I don't know the timing. But 9 times out of 10, I would say yes. I don't get the messages unless I feel, and I feel deeply about that, it will happen. I just don't know when.
You mean 9 times out of 10 it's accurate?
Yes, absolutely.
And it comes to pass within a short amount of time?
No, not always. Yes, most of the time, yes. But the other one that I had, which was a premonition about an attack, that was about 4 years later. But you know something, and I like that question too, it never left my mind. I was very aware of that. It's like I see the scenario, but where I'm human, and I say, it was just a dream. But it's not. They're giving me a message, but I need, and if they're listening, I need the time and place. However, who's going to believe me? Not necessarily they're going to believe me, but
And would
I'll
you
know.
feel that it sticks with you? If
It-
you get a message, you won't forget it
Absolutely.
until it comes to pass? if
Absolutely,
ever.
as I would attest to with my traveling, for the first couple of years, I was traveling all over the place with astral projection. I remember every single place I went to, and it wasn't an earthly place, it was all over the place. That never leaves me, never, because it's real.
It's not like a dream. It's like a trip.
As you know, absolutely.
Like going
and I know that
somewhere.
you remember everything because we
Yes.
don't forget. I forget what I'm saying on this program until I listen to it, but I will always, it's somewhere. And if you give me an idea of what you asked me, the question, or I'll listen, I'll remember it. It's real, you know?
Well, since you say you forget what you're saying, do you feel you're slipping in and out of a trance at any time?
Well, yes, of course I am, but I'm not aware of that. I mean, the moment I have to have a question, I can't do this without someone presenting a question to me. But the moment that question comes, I'm able to answer. And as Steve and as people know me now, and as you know, Mindy too, and Sydney's hearing this for the first time, my personality I'm much more direct with the answer. Sometimes because I'm human, I'll give a story and I'm going, oh, I said that wrong, as you know, or I'll mispronounce something. But I find when they're talking to me, that does not happen.
Why? Because does the question allow you to connect to the energy better? It brings in that exact energy a little stronger for you at the moment?
Yes, and thank you very much for clarifying that, because I often wondered how I'm doing this. But thank you, Mindy. Yes, the energy is much stronger. I'm the instrument. They're talking through me. So my words are far more precise and direct than how I usually talk. My friend who I used to do this with all the time, which was Marita on the phone, we didn't do this publicly. She could tell the moment she asked me a question that I became a different, I'm going to say it's still me, but I was, let's say, channeling something. We didn't know at that time.
And you didn't create this way of, or did you create this way of doing this? Or was it given you through spirit? This is your way.
This is my way. I had no idea, absolutely no idea. I know from a child I was able to do this, but I didn't. But it became so important. How it became important was through Aldo. He came into my life when I was opening up. I'm suddenly painting. I'm doing all the things that I had never done in my life. And I'm suddenly, it's me. I'm doing this. I'm going to give him credit because again, this is my guide who materialized, who has passed. He's here with me now. He used to say to me many times, be my mouthpiece. He did not want to appear in front of a camera, but he knew a lot. And he said to me, you will pass this on. And I am, hopefully, doing that.
And it's also so obvious when you get some of these messages because they manifest themselves in your total amazement and your famous goosebumps.
Yes, and I'm more so than my friends. I go, how did that happen? And they'll go, but you believe this. And I do, but I still get, and I never want to lose that moment when we're validated, as you and I have been so many times, and you will start seeing that, Sydney, okay? I don't want to ever lose that. Oh my gosh, that's incredible. How did that happen? I'm still human, I'm here.
I love those goosebump moments.
I know you do, I know you do.
Sally, it's Linda again.
Hi, Linda.
How difficult is it when somebody asks you a question and you know that the answer is going to hurt them or be painful or perhaps carry very sad or bad news?
I like that question, and I'm not sure that I can going to be able to answer this, but I can only tell you how I feel. I'm a very, very positive person. As you know, through my show, I always talk, even if something is going negative, please try to see the positivity, because I believe there's reasons. So consequently, because of that, I don't get a lot of negative questions, answers, if someone gives me something, because I think that the spirits know that I'm such a positive person. However, I'm not going to say that that won't happen, but and I'm truthful as best that I can with the answers. I've yet to have to tell someone some bad news, and I think they know that, but then it might be relevant to what they need to know. So if that happens, I feel that I have to pass that on to the best way that I can do in my human form from what they're telling me. I'm not going to give them horrible news because there's no guarantee or when that's going to happen. But I'll use my own discretion as far as that goes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sally, I want to make a comment about your channeling, the way things come through. And, you know, you mentioned it's not, your mind's not involved, right? But one of the things that I think adds to the authenticity of what you're doing is that when we're working on your book, sometimes I'll ask you a question and you give an answer, and then you're genuinely surprised at the answer you gave.
Yes.
And you couldn't make that up. So these things really are coming from somewhere else. They're not already within you. They're coming from a source outside of you.
Absolutely, Lynn, because am I able to know all this in my physicality and my... No, I get a lot of questions that are thrown to me. And when I can only say when I look back on my show, because it's recorded too, I go, how did I know that? But I seem to know it. So yes, it still surprises me, but I'm happy about that because I still like the validation for myself too. I'm human, I'm here, but I am able to contact to the other side. Does it amaze me? Does it give me pleasure? Does it make me feel great? Absolutely. Have I got ego with this? No. No ego whatsoever, because I believe that we can all touch this. I've just been given the ability to be able to do it, and also the ability to do this on the show, which I now want to continue. I will do this, as far as I know, for my lifetime, because I think it's important. Whether people believe me or not, that's okay. I can't judge someone for not believing me. It may not be their time. I'm surprised too with the answers, yes, as you know, sometimes.
Right. So I have a question I'd like to ask Steve.
Yes,
and that is, and that's this. You know, there's one of the chapters we're doing in your book is called Channeling from the Heart. And so you have this knowing in your heart, it's not in your mind, but the channeling is coming through an open heart. And so my question for Steve is, and you don't have to say when unless you want to, but Steve, can you remember a moment when you had a knowing that you and Sally were going to get married?
Okay, I knew very early on, not through a specific moment, but very early on when we started dating in February, that there was something very special here. And just before we went to Key West in early May for our first little vacation, I felt that it was time for me to ask Sally to marry me. Now, I don't know where that came from, although I knew I was falling in love, or I'd already fallen in love with Sally, but I never thought I would get married again. But there was something at that moment that told me, you must be married with Sally. So I guess the answer is just before we went to Key West.
Okay, thank you.
I have to just interject a little bit. They were working for me on the other side. Okay, he did not know that, but I knew. No, I didn't know he was going to ask me to marry him, but I knew they were working for me.
And I had another one of those moments this morning, and sitting and reflecting on yesterday and the marriage and the wedding and the wonderful party and everything and all my feelings for Sally. And I sat down and I wrote a poem, and it's unlike me to do something like that. Sally wanted me to read it today, so here it is. It's called You and Me and Us. You appeared to me magically through sources unknown. As quick as an instant, our feelings have grown. Our magic kept growing. You became my bride, and I your groom. When you walked in the room as our nuptials began, my heart skipped a beat. I said, you lucky man. When you said I do, the tears slowly dripped from my eyes. We knew that this day was created beyond the skies. With all that you've taught me, with all that I know, our wedding event was much more than a show. The energy that surrounds us now will guide us and protect us. Our love and our light will continue to flow. I will love you forever, as now you are my life. It took me many years, and now you are my wife.
Oh my gosh. And that was something. Thank you, Steve. That was amazing. Actually, my first thought was, where did you find that poem? It's so apropos to what we are. But he said to me, I've never done anything this. It just came to him. I understand that, but I'm so happy that it came to you. Thank you so much.
You're quite welcome.
Thank you.
Could I just say something, Steve? Be careful because it's catchy. When
Absolutely.
you live with
yeah.
someone who's totally open to spirit, there's no doubt in my mind that, well, it's all on purpose, and your heart starts to open also. I mean, you're actually experiencing it with her. At the same time, you're seeing it, you can't deny your own eyes, and you believe, and your heart softens. So these things, even the poem that is coming through, I, in my humble opinion, I feel it's all part of the same thing.
Oh, I agree, because
Yeah.
it was very unlike me to sit down and write a poem. And, you know, being with Sally has just opened me up totally to what could be, what was, and what will be. And Sally and I have agreed that I'm leaning towards developing some psychic abilities of my own.
Yes.
So,
Because you had them anyway.
Exactly.
You're leaning towards opening to your psychic abilities, you mean?
thank you, yes.
Because 22 years, or it's now 23, we were saying 22, 23 years ago, you really, I think I'm correct in saying you didn't want any part of this side of me at that point, although I wasn't who I am today, but I didn't know as much.
Right, well, 22, 23 years ago, I wasn't available.
No, I don't mean that, but
Emotionally
I
or-
mean, from what, that's true. But I'm talking about from what I would say to you or discuss. You
Right, but
said,
that was more like 12 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I forget, you know that. We met 12 years ago again. That's
Yes.
correct. Okay, to just correct that. Okay. Thank you, Steve.
Sally, when Steve called me to tell me that you guys were engaged from Key West, first of all, him calling me in the middle of the day when I knew you guys were in Key West, I saw his name and I went, oh my God, what happened?
Absolutely.
And then he said, we're engaged. And I think I took a moment and I said, are you sure? This is fast. And as Erica said yesterday so eloquently, and then this is what he said to me. When you see us together, you'll get it. And I hadn't shared that with you before.
Thank you, Linda.
So I
That
wanted
was-
to share that
Thank you. That
now.
was
And
beautiful.
Stevie, I get it.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much. Lovely. He didn't know what was going to happen to him after that to get all this psychic ability here. And
Great ride.
but it was a great ride. It's a
an
great journey.
e-ticket ride.
I know him longer than anybody else.
I know.
Except Mitchell, and that's Steve's brother. And I can't remember seeing him happier.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you.
Okay. Any questions?
Sally, I have
Yes.
one more. I'm sorry if I'm asking too
No,
many.
no, Mindy, I love it. You know,
This
that's
is what's coming to mind, so I
Please.
want to ask.
Please.
I'm not sure exactly how to say this, but within the genre, so to speak, a genre within the genre, like,
Okay.
do you feel that most of your teachings, when you speak, the information you're getting, is leaning more towards world consciousness type of subjects more than the nitty-gritty, which some people focus on, that's their calling to do? Your calling, do you think it's more what
I'm smiling and I'm getting my
truths of the
goosebumps
universe.
because actually, yes, absolutely. I'm happy to answer questions of people what they want to know in their life. But I think my calling goes, and I'm not saying this through, again, saying I know so much, but I don't. But I feel that it's more with what's going on in the world, where we go when we depart. And you actually mentioned something to me about that, because I am able to, the best that I know, I don't always know the exact answer, but I answer the way they're telling me, is more of what's going on in the world today, of more of what's happening. Yes, but I also feel I need to give people messages so that they're going to open their minds to what I have to say after that, as far as where we're going in the world and what happens to us, because they're not necessarily going to leave and listen to me, Mindy, if I don't ask them more of a personal question that I'm able to answer, if that kind of makes sense. So I think I'm leaning more to, let's say, a deeper conversation with them. However, I still need to do the answers to show them I'm getting messages to be able to answer their questions.
Yes, I
I
understand.
know that was a little long-winded, but that was a good question. Thank you.
No, I understand. Thank you.
Thank you.
Freddie, you've been very silent today.
Too much vino. I did have a question. I didn't want to interfere because I noticed the flow. Now that you're married, does it change any way, or spiritually, does it change any receiving messages or what you do on a normal basis? Does it matter now that there is a soul closer to yours?
I feel that I would have, I know let's say this, I know we've done the right thing. So when you have a relationship or you're with somebody on a more intimate level, you actually do take, and this is coming to me very strongly from Spirit, you take their energy as they do yours. So and as best that I can answer that question, I know, Steve, we've been together on and off now for, I say off because you travel a little bit, but for 10 months. And my energy has actually got stronger doing this program, as you probably can also tell. So we have a good energy. So I'm going to say, in answer to that question, it's actually, in a way, even helping me more, as it will him. But of course, it can have a reverse effect if you're, and again, I don't talk negative, but if someone is in a relationship, to just show people to understand this maybe, that is not a good relationship for them, I will always say, remove yourself, as Aldo always used to say to me. And I used to argue with, we didn't have that type of relationship, but he was my best friend, that if we had an argument and it was nothing very much, he had to remove himself even from me as I had to him, to go into another room. Our energies intertwine. I feel that this is a great, great relationship as far as that goes too, because he's helping me as I'm helping you. You feel that, Steve?
On my side of the coin, I've definitely taken your spirit upon me, and I've noticed things in the world and in our daily, comings and goings that I never would have, realized had we not been together and had you not opened my mind up.
So and hopefully we're going to do other things together as far as this goes. And I think that when two people meet and the energy is strong and you're on that same vibrational energy, it can only enhance not only the relationship, but it can enhance everything that's going on in your life. It's a good thing. It's a very good thing. And I feel that we have that.
Good time for the year, too, because a lot of people now, with the holidays upon us, it's always very difficult. We talked about this in past show. Always very difficult to get through these changes. It seems like you two have gotten a rebirth, and it's just the opposite effect. So positive vibes always feed positive vibes. So even people that are down, not feeling it, will see the two of you and sort of feel double the up, which is unusual. Is that something that you knew was going to happen? And is that the reason you got married in December?
Well, it wasn't so much the date of December. I feel that we can change our life at any particular time as the year goes by. Maybe it emphasizes it more for people because we make New Year resolutions and we try to stick to them. So that's a good question, actually. I had not looked at it that way. We had no intention of getting married in December. However, we had booked a cruise. So we turned around and said, well, let's make that cruise our honeymoon. Maybe they were working with me to tell me, get married in December, to give this message to people that are starting the new year, that we work on the new year now. I feel really good about the new year. Well, I'm positive anyway, so I would have done, but it's enhanced that. Yes, it has. And I like that question. It's made me open up a little bit to that. Do you feel the
And what
same?
Sally just said in her answer, if she did not say that, I was about to say it, and that's what goes on with us constantly. We are of one mind.
Absolutely. I keep saying, I'm saying this is scary. He doesn't. He's accepting it. But he's like reading my mind. Okay, Josh, thank you. I think we, okay. You don't have a question? You always have a question.
I was thinking of one, but I kept working back here.
Okay, that's all right.
Working.
Yes, we're doing great. The room is great. Thank you. We have 5 more minutes.
You know, we got to witness the marriage yesterday, you guys doing what you did. The room was lit up, the people in it were lit up, everything. I mean, they make me laugh because they say that I had too much vino. I didn't have too much vino. I just felt that there was so much going on in that room, so many different people that I didn't know, people that I did know. And it was a pleasure to be able to see the two of you shine the light that you bring, which again is the gift of Christmas as far as I'm concerned. So, going forward, starting next year, is it going to change anything differently from what you're doing currently on the show? Is there any different surprises that you want to do on the show? Because now Steve is going to be bringing his fingerprint in here as well. What are we going to be doing?
Yes, because you're opening my mind to this, and now I'm thinking, I can see this, absolutely. This is great. I never thought of it that way, but now I'm actually feeling it, and I'm getting validation from Spirit telling me this. Yes, our energy together is definitely connecting. And we're hoping, as you know, too, to maybe expand more and maybe go into some sort of theater where Steve had actually said to me, and I didn't think of this, let me go around with the mic and ask them the questions. So we're all going to be part of that. Hopefully they'll come into the Brooklyn Cafe. We're working very much on that too, because I love this place. This is where I began this journey, and I'm going to go along with it for the rest of, hopefully, as long as I can. I'm going to say the rest of my days because I don't know, but as long as I feel delighted that we're spreading the word through the cafe here. But we can all expand together in that. Would I have been able to do this without Steve? Maybe, but I'm so happy that he's included in this journey now. Absolutely. We were meant to do this together. He didn't know it, and I've only just found out, but it's all good.
Yeah. And in the future, if we can get more people to call in and ask questions by calling 888-994-4995 Studio A, you can really see Sally shine at her very, very best in answering specific questions.
We're also going to set up a mic in studio so that if anybody wants to come, they don't have to be on camera. They can ask questions just like they're doing now. And it could be anybody. It could be people we know, people we don't know. Because as you saw this afternoon, the studio is opening up, bringing in more entertainers, more musicians, people of spirit, people who have gone through different lives and things that they have done as well. And I think the important aspect is to use your show to sort of share all of it, because we're not alone. Everybody has a story, and sometimes, and then no pun intended, sometimes you need a catalyst to be able to bring that forward so that you can understand its meaning. So I loved what you guys are doing. I think it's fantastic. We just want to expand it and make it bigger.
Beautiful.
And we're congratulations on the wedding.
Thank you, Freddie. Thank you.
And it's just, the art of giving, the art of extension. It's exactly what you guys are doing right now.
Thank you very much, Freddie. Thank you. That was a beautiful way to end our show. Bye, everybody. I'll see you. Well, no, I won't see you next week because we're going to be on our honeymoon for a week. Yeah. But the week after, we'll have a show, though, for you. We'll pick up a beautiful one from the recordings, okay?
But from our home to yours, a very happy and healthy holiday and New Year.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Sally. Please tune into my show on Monday at 3 o'clock, Call Me Zena. If you have any questions regarding your loved ones over the holidays, I would love to answer them for you. 888-994-4995.
Coincidence or not, it's time to trust your intuition and knowings. Thank you for joining me through this journey of self-discovery and awakening with the help of my spirit guides. I'm Sally Barnard, and you can find my book, artwork and contact through artbysallybarnard.com. Join us next week. This has been Call Me Zena.